The Saiyans conquered Earth. Humans were enslaved. Years later, Chi-Chi faces a destiny she never chose. Sold to a Saiyan warrior known as Kakarot. Will she break, or will she change him? Welcome to What If Chi-Chi Fell into the Hands of Kakarot. Attack! One man yelled, and an army of men ran, with weapons held high. The Earthlings were fighting against invading aliens. The Saiyans. The bad part about this war was that the Saiyans kept slaughtering the Earth's people. The ones that rebelled against them ended up murdered, covered in blood. No one could stop them from taking over the Earth, because they were the strongest race in the universe. Once the Earth was taken over, most of the women were taken back to planet Vegeta and became slaves. 18 years later, Chi-Chi's POV. Today's the day where I get sold to another master. I was terrified. I was afraid of who will buy me next. Will he be evil, nice, rude, cruel, fair? I kept thinking about what Kami has in store for me. I don't want to keep going through hell. Not anymore. In the past few masters, I've been beaten, raped, tortured, betrayed, and I never want to go through that again. I know this will all happen again, but somewhere inside me, I have a feeling I won't go through this stuff again. I feel a strong hatred inside me for the Saiyans. I think they're ugly bastards. Who in the world has tails? It's creepy. I don't want to see human beings with tails. It's disgusting. What do they even use them for? What's their use for it? Is there even a reason for one? I am currently being taken to the block, to be sold to a new plantation. I have no idea who will be there, and who will own me. I just hope my new master won't be as bad as the others have had in the past. It must be lucky, being a Saiyan. You don't have to be treated like trash all the time. Do I wish I was born a Saiyan? No way in hell. I'd never want to be a slave owner, and treat people poorly. It's not my style. I'm put into a cage, filled with other human beings. Mostly girls, but men are better in strength, so they would need men to do certain jobs right. Almost every person in the cage is either crying, screaming, or banging on the bars begging to get out. These actions just show how weak you are. And it will backfire on you when you get sold to a master. He or she might treat you differently based on your looks, actions, and emotions. I watch someone being taken to the block. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the first human being. Do we have any takers? No one raises a hand. All right, details. This woman here, look at her figure. Doesn't she look like she would do good in the house? She hasn't lost any limbs, and she could be useful in a lot of things. Do we have a bid of 500? A man raises a hand. 500. Wonderful. We have one bid of 500. Do we have any offers any higher? How about 750? 750. Another man shouts. The price raises up to 1,200, and then no one raises a finger. Any more offers? Going once, going twice, sold. $1,200. Everyone claps in the audience. I just frown, and roll my eyes. I wonder how her master will treat her. Bunches of slaves are sold throughout the hours, and eventually, it's my turn to go up. I swallow a big gulp, getting a little lightheaded. I was feeling a little fear, as I made my way up to the block. I look at all the Saiyans in front of me, and I keep a plain, normal face. Don't show emotion, don't show emotion. The announcer gasps. Gentlemen, get a load of this young lady here. Don't you think she's gorgeous? Get a look at her body. Perv. That's a man I don't want to be sold to. All I'm focusing on is how I can get my hands on his neck and snap it. I notice all the Saiyan men's eyes are looking at me, and I start to get furious. Stop looking at me. These people were really pissing me off, but I just stay calm, in front of everyone. I don't want to make a scene, so I just stand there, with the same expression on my face. Someone raises a hand. I bid 1,000. We have 1,000 already. Anyone have a higher offer? 1,500. Someone else yells. 2,000. A man with spiky hair shouts. Have a guess. Laughing face. We have 2,000. Anyone else? 2,750. Whoa. Does anyone have a higher offer? The man with the spiky hair stands. 3,500. Wow. These men really want me to be their slave. It doesn't really surprise me, since this has happened other times. One time, two men kept offering higher bids for ours. The price went up to about 15,000. It's crazy. The announcer clears his throat. Anything higher. Going once, he says, and pauses for a few moments. The room stays silent. I guess I'm going to him, the man with strange hair. Parts of his hair were in different directions, it looked hard to tame it. Going twice, he says, and pauses once again. Sold. To Kakarot. Kakarot, huh? Never heard of that name before. Well, I better prepare myself for the worst. End of Chi-Chi's paw. Chi-Chi was pushed over to Kakarot, and her hands were put behind her back. Kakarot took hold of her, and put two fingers on his forehead. Chi-Chi looked puzzled. What's he doing? In a flash, she appeared into another room. She looked around, trying to figure out where she was. Hey, wench, come here. Chi-Chi swallowed hard, and walked slowly over to where Kakarot walked off to. He had a serious look on his face, and looked down at her carefully. Chi-Chi stared down at his feet, and sweat began to form all over her body. What's he going to do with me? I'm hungry. Go make me some lunch. You know how to cook, right? Yes. Kakarot smirked. Good, then get to it. I'll see you when lunch is ready. Chi-Chi nodded, and headed towards the kitchen. When she finished her cooking, she set it on the table behind her. Kakarot came in, rubbing his stomach. When he sat down, he attacked the food, and Chi-Chi looked at him startled. Kakarot noticed her staring, and gave her a look. What are you staring at, woman? Chi-Chi scolded at him, getting furious. Woman, is this how you treat every girl you come across? My name is Chi-Chi, got it? Sure, whatever. With that attitude of yours, I wonder if any men like you. What? Take that back. Nope. Do it. Make me. Chi-Chi's face turned red with anger, and slammed a fist on the table. This caught Kakarot's attention. You jerk. I made you lunch, and this is how you treat me. Well, technically you're a slave. I can treat you however I want. Chi-Chi growled at Kakarot, and gave him a death stare. Kakarot looked at her, and smirked. She was impressing him, the fire in her eyes, the anger. He was pleased with the meal she made him, and thought for a moment she might want some too. She needed to eat after all. He shoved some leftover food across the table, closer to Chi-Chi. He gave her a look, insisting on eating the platter in front of her. Kakarot just crossed his arms across his chest, and stared at her. Chi-Chi raised an eyebrow, still looking at him. Ah, is Kakarot all full? Chi-Chi cooed sarcastically, and Kakarot gave her an annoying look. I was offering you food. Are you gonna take it or not? I will just eat the rest of it if you want. Okay, I'll eat it. Stop being such a grumpy Gus. Chi-Chi replied, and sat down across from Kakarot. She looked up at him, and looked at the plate in front of her. Thanks. Don't mention it. Kakarot growled. Chi-Chi scowled at him. Jerk. Chi-Chi mumbled, and started to eat off the platter. Kakarot raised an eyebrow. What was that? Nothing. Chi-Chi said immediately, and ate faster. Nothing, Kakarot said, his smirk returning. You mumbled something, didn't you? No, I didn't. Yeah, right. Just leave me be. Kakarot stared at Chi-Chi for few seconds, and stood up from the table. HMPH, fine then. I'm leaving, so clean up. Wait, what is it, woman? Chi-Chi sent him another glare. Would you stop calling me that? Please. My name is Chi-Chi, bastard. I can call you whatever I please. And you don't call me a bastard. Well, it suits you, your personality, and acts need an adjustment. Whatever. What was it you were going to ask me? She growled, and took a few seconds to calm herself. You can tell I look kinda filthy, right? I was wondering, now I'm in a new place and all, am I allowed to take? Are you asking to take a bath with me? Kakarot interrupted, and smirked at her. Chi-Chi blushed a light pink. No, I was asking to just take a shower, without you. Sure, I don't care. Kakarot said with a frown, a little disappointed. Chi-Chi stuck her tongue out at him, and then smiled. Kakarot just growled, and left the kitchen. Chi-Chi was pleased with herself when he left the room. She chuckled softly, and started washing dishes from the table. After Kakarot took his bath, Chi-Chi decided to take one as well. She made her way into his bathroom, and approached the edge of the tub. As she was filling it up with water, she heard a knock on the door, and saw the doorknob move back and forth. Chi-Chi smiled, satisfied with her idea to lock the door. Nice try, Kakarot, but I knew you would try to come in here. Wench, unlock this door. No way. Why you open this door? Nah, bitch. You are my damn slave, and that means you have to do as I say, or you're going to get it. Kakarot growled, still trying to get the door open. Get what? Chi-Chi said, taunting him. If you don't open it, I will force it open, and when that happens, I will show you no mercy. You don't scare me. I'd like to see you kill me, and then waste over $3,000 that you spent on me. Chi-Chi yelled, and stopped filling the tub. She heard Kakarot groan in anger. Besides, I'm taking a bath. I need some privacy. Go away, Kakarot growled. Fine, but when you get out, we have some things to go over. Got it, sure, now leave. Kakarot left in anger to his bedroom, and laid on his bed. Stupid bitch, she needs to learn respect. No one has ever treated me like this before. This is nonsense. Kakarot stared up at the ceiling for a few minutes. But, she is a beautiful woman. Man, what have I got myself into? Kakarot's thoughts were interrupted by Chi-Chi's calls for him. What does she want now? He growled, and walked over to his bathroom door. What do you need? You have any extra clothes for me? The only thing I have is what I came to your house in. You have anything, at least for the night? I'll be able to wash my clothes. Kakarot smirked. Well, you could go to sleep naked. Hell no. Wait, is there only one bed? Yep, and you can sleep with me. No way. I'll just sleep on the couch, thank you very much. Aw, come on. You know you want to sleep in a nice, warm bed. No, and don't you dare think about forcing me. Kakarot frowned, and crossed his arms over his chest, leaning against the door. Okay, I'll go get you something to wear for the night. Thanks, sure, Kakarot said, and picked out something out of his closet. A plain, white shirt. He knocked on the bathroom door. Here, I got something. Chi-Chi unlocked the door, and cracked it open slightly. Kakarot gave her the shirt. Thanks again. Whatever. Chi-Chi scowled at him before she closed the door, and got dressed. The shirt was a little big, like a nightgown to her. When she came out of the bathroom, Kakarot was there waiting for her. She frowned at him, and walked right past him. Kakarot followed her, and Chi-Chi took a seat on a sofa in the small living room. Kakarot, do you have a pillow and blanket I could use? In the closet. Wow, I never would have guessed that. Chi-Chi said, annoyed. Which closet? The one down that hall. Kakarot said, and pointed a finger at the hallway. Chi-Chi went down the hall and approached a white single door. She opened it, and picked out a pillow and blanket. She came back and laid down on the couch, making herself comfortable. Kakarot just stared at her, watching her get all situated. I'm going to bed now, Kakarot said, and returned to his bedroom. Chi-Chi shrugged her shoulders, and closed her eyes. Wasn't he gonna talk to me about something? I guess people can change their minds. Then Kakarot came up into her thoughts. He's really rude, I wonder where he got that from. I guess he's alright, considering the fact he let me take a bath, eat, gave me a shirt, and let me sleep on this couch. He's a mystery, and I don't know what goes on in his head. Not long after, she dozed off into a light slumber, and moved lightly in her sleep. She occasionally mumbled something, and went back to just regular breathing. Hours later, she woke up from the sunlight, and from Kakarot's demands for breakfast. She stretched her muscles out, and changed into her regular outfit. When she appeared in the kitchen, a pissed-off Kakarot was giving her a glare. She returned it, and ignored his actions as she prepared breakfast. I'm hungry, woman. What's taking so long? You know, it takes a lot of effort to make food. Just shut up, and be patient. And besides, you won't be getting any with that attitude. Chi-Chi yelled at him, paused, and continued, also you still won't call me by my name, you jerk. Like I said, you are my slave, and that means I can call you whatever I please. Just remember, I can stop making your food, and toss it out. Chi-Chi said with a smirk, and that shut Kakarot up. Not another word was said until all the food was on the table, and consumed. After Kakarot finished his portion, he left, and Chi-Chi washed the dishes. After that, Chi-Chi sat down at the table, and laid her head down. She took in long breaths, and closed her eyes. She dozed off, and stayed there for a few hours, until Kakarot shook her awake. Chi-Chi yawned, and her head lifted from the table. What could you possibly want now? I'm going out to train, so that means you'll be alone. If you pull any stunts, I bet you'll be regretting that when I deal with you. Got it, I'll be back for dinner, so have it ready. Chi-Chi nodded her head in agreement, and Kakarot left. Chi-Chi took the time to get to know her surroundings. So, she explored Kakarot Place. She looked through all the rooms, unamused, until she came across a strange-looking room. She came in, and saw a machine with many buttons on it. She walked up to it, getting a closer look. One button grabbed her attention, and had a puzzled look on her face. Curious, she lifted a finger, and put it on the button. Should I push it or walk away? I don't even know what this thing is. Still, I should at least try it. I might not ever get another chance like this. If Kakarot doesn't leave again, I'll never know. With no regrets, she pushed the button, and she felt like a big weight was put on top of her. She let out a grunt, and her body fell face down on the ground, with no chance of getting back up. And there was no one around to help her. Chi-Chi was struggling in the gravity room, and keeping herself conscious from all the pressure pushing on her body. Her body was covered in sweat, and she took in heavy breaths. Her loose hair stuck to her sweaty body, and kept on huffing and puffing. She was trying to get in a decent breath. She forced her body to the limit, and tried to move around. Oh my god, this is torture. What the hell is this? I can hardly move, breathe, or control anything in this goddamn room. I need to get out of here, but at this rate my body's gonna get crushed. She thought of the only person that could help her. Kakarot, where the hell are you? I need help. Chi-Chi screamed at the top of her lungs. No repines. Damn it. She moved her hand in front of her slowly, and furiously struggled to pull herself across the smooth, red floor. Why is this so damn difficult? Why isn't anyone here to help me? I'm in a freaking life or death situation, for God's sake. She looked back at the machine where she pressed the button. She saw a number, with an X beside it. 25X. 25X. What does that mean? I don't even know what's holding me down. This is so hard, I don't think my body can take any more of this. Chi-Chi heard footsteps heading towards her. She sighed in relief, and let her eyelids close. She slipped in unconsciousness from all the pressure her body was taking. The machine was shut off, and the gravity returned to normal. Chi-Chi was lifted into someone's arms, and was put on the couch. It was Kakarot. When Chi-Chi opened her eyes an hour later, she found herself in the living room. Her face had a puzzled look. What am I doing here? Wasn't I just in the... You were in the gravity room, Kakarot said, interrupting Chi-Chi's thoughts. What were you doing in there, wench? I told you no stunts. And I come back to see you passed out on the damn gravity room floor. Why? Kakarot shouted. I was just exploring your home. I wanted to at least know my way around here since I'm gonna live here for a while. Are you ever calm? Chi-Chi yelled back. Did you really have to push that button? What gave you the urge to push it? Did I even give you permission to? Yes, I wanted to know what it was for. Can't a girl wonder? Chi-Chi screamed, and took a few seconds to calm herself. And no, you didn't give me permission, so I had a right to push it. No you didn't, woman. Don't you ever go in that room. Understand? Sure. Now will you leave me alone? Kakarot's stomach grumbled, and he smirked at her. Not until my stomach is satisfied. Fine. Is that all you want? Kakarot pondered for a moment, and his smirk widened. Do you come with it? Chi-Chi scowled at him. Hell no. Chi-Chi screamed, and Kakarot's smirk turned into pouty expression. And don't you dare give me that. Did you know every time you argue back at me it turns me on? Why would I wanna know that? If you try to seduce me then no dinner for you. Chi-Chi yelled at him. This made Kakarot shut up, and Chi-Chi smirked. She entered the kitchen, and left a silenced Kakarot, who was still next to the sofa. Damn her, Kakarot said breathlessly, and he felt his groin twitch. Why am I feeling like this when I'm around her? Damn it, why is my body feeling this way? Chi-Chi prepared supper, and called Kakarot to come and eat. Once again, he attacked the food in front of him, but he ate even faster. He finished his meal in a matter of seconds, from his hunger. He got so hungry from his training today, and couldn't wait to eat when he came back to his home. He could have found something else to devour, but he had a desire for Chi-Chi's cooking. But he didn't have a desire for just her food. He had a desire for her, and when he was around her, he felt the urge to make love to her. But he resisted it multiple times. He didn't want to force her to do something she didn't want. He would feel guilty by going by his desires, not hers. He didn't want Chi-Chi to hate him for life. He had little feelings for her, but didn't know if Chi-Chi felt any for him. Kakarot, why yeah, are you just gonna sit there forever, or are you gonna take a bath? You stink, Chi-Chi said, and pinched her nose when she smelt his stench. Kakarot's smirk reappeared, and hugged Chi-Chi. I smell huh, Kakarot said huskily. Quit it, Chi-Chi yelled, smelled him again, and stuck out her tongue. Ew, you really stink. Take a bath please. I will for one thing. What, will you take one with? No, now go, Chi-Chi shouted, and pointed at his bedroom where his bathroom was located. Kakarot let a frown appear on his face. Fine, Kakarot grumbled, and stomped to his bathroom. Chi-Chi chuckled, and Kakarot sent her a glare, which made her stop immediately. He then disappeared into the room. Afterwards, he came out in some sweats, and was still damp from being in the tub. Kakarot went in the kitchen, grabbed a drink, and sat down on the sofa. Chi-Chi stared at him, as he gulped down his drink. Kakarot saw her eyes on him. What are you looking at? Chi-Chi shook her head, and her cheeks turned a light pink. Nothing. Do you find me appealing or something? Kakarot asked, an eyebrow rising. Chi-Chi gave him a look. What's with the face? They were interrupted by a knock at the door. Kakarot rose from the couch, and made his way to the front door. When he opened the door, he was shocked at the person who was in front of him. It was Turles. Kakarot growled in anger, which made Turles frown. What do you want, Turles? Kakarot growled at him, letting his anger rise. Well, you look pissed. Did something happen? It's none of your fucking business. Whoa, someone has some issues. I'll just let myself in, Turles said, pushing Kakarot back, and letting himself in. Kakarot closed the door. I heard you got yourself a female slave. Have you fucked her yet? Why would you want to know that? That's my business, not yours. Sure, Turles said, and looked around. Where is she anyway? Probably in the kitchen since she's not out here. Kakarot mumbled. I've been hearing rumors that she's appealing, flawless, beautiful, would you agree? Kakarot remained silent. Fine, ignore me, I'll just go check her out myself. Turles walked casually into the kitchen, and saw a raven-haired woman looking in the refrigerator. Kakarot, you there? Chi-Chi asked, and turned around from the fridge. All she saw was a look-alike of Kakarot. Her head tilted to the side, confused. You're not Kakarot. Kakarot appeared next to the look-alike, and crossed his hands across his chest. This confused her even more. Kakarot, who's that? Turles. Kakarot growled. And who is this lovely creature? Turles butted in. Kakarot hesitated. Her name is Chi-Chi. Man, I wish I was at that auction, then I could have bought you. But you didn't. Kakarot snapped. Kakarot, Chi-Chi said. What's wrong? The waste of space that's pestering me. Kakarot growled. Kakarot, Turles said, and put an arm around his shoulders. Would you lighten up? What's you deal? Would you just leave? It would make me happier. I kinda don't want to. Turles said, and Kakarot growled again. Turles rolled his eyes. Deal with it, you prick. No one likes a person with an attitude. And you really need an attitude adjustment. Turles walked over to Chi-Chi, and put an arm around her waist. Chi-Chi tried pushing him away, but he tightened his grip. Would you let go of me? You're really making me feel uncomfortable. Turles chuckled. What's wrong? Is Kakarot not giving you enough attention? Turles taunted, and put his lips down to her ear. You know, I'll give you some attention. Turles whispered, and Chi-Chi shivered. Chi-Chi finally pushed him off her. Don't touch me, creep. You're quite the feisty one, aren't you? That's how I like em. Stay away from me, you perv. Just leave me alone. Kakarot grabbed Turles by the collar of his armor, and threw him out of the house. Kakarot growled at him one last time, and slammed the door. He turned his attention back to Chi-Chi, who was now behind him. Are you okay? Kakarot asked, his voice a little loud. Why yes. That was Turles. Is he always like that? Pretty much. Always wanting. Always greedy. I figured that. He looked pretty interested in you. Kakarot said, looking at her with concern. Chi-Chi's eyes widened in shock. What? It's just, ever since I came here, you never showed any concern for me. Well, I don't want Turles taking my woman. Kakarot accidentally blurted out, and immediately clasped his mouth. Chi-Chi's eyebrows furrowed. What did you just say? Chi-Chi asked softly, and Kakarot stayed silent. Chi-Chi frowned at his actions. Fine, I'm going to sleep on the couch. Night. Chi-Chi wait, Kakarot said, and caused Chi-Chi turned around. She looked at him, surprised. Instead of sleeping on the sofa, are you still not wanting to sleep in my bed? I'll even sleep on the couch, if you need your space. You deserve to sleep in a nice bed. Huh, why are you asking me this? Look, do you want or not? Chi-Chi thought for a few minutes. Should I, or should I not? She took in a breath. Sure, she said softly. Kakarot grabbed a pillow and blanket, and threw it on the sofa. Kakarot, what? Chi-Chi blushed. I guess, it would be okay for you to sleep with me, Chi-Chi said, which made Kakarot put a smile on his face. He made his way over to her. But no sex. Okay, just sleeping, Kakarot said, and Chi-Chi smiled. Chi-Chi got dressed into the shirt Kakarot gave her, and Kakarot stripped to his boxers. Chi-Chi saw him without his shirt, and blushed. He sure had an impressive build. Chi-Chi jumped into the bed, and hid herself from Kakarot, so he wouldn't see her flushed cheeks. Then she drifted off into a deep slumber, worn out from today's events. When Chi-Chi awoken, she noticed something was different. She felt something warm. Her eyes got adjusted to her surroundings, and tried to find the warmness on her body. Her eyes widened at the sight. She realized what the warmness on her was. It was Kakarot. She blushed at where Kakarot's head was. In the middle of her breasts. She then noticed his arms were around her waist. She lifted one hand up, ready to slap him across the face, but resisted the urge. Calm down, he's doing this in his sleep. I can't hit him for moving in his sleep. I'll just deal with this when he's awake, and not on my body. Chi-Chi tried to push Kakarot off of her, but he didn't come off. Come on, stop moving, I'm enjoying this. Kakarot grumbled, and Chi-Chi's cheeks flushed deeper. Wait a minute, you mean you've been awake the whole time? Chi-Chi asked, as her anger began to rise. Yeah, what about it? Kakarot, you asshole, get the hell off me. Chi-Chi yelled, and caused Kakarot to immediately get off her. You did this on purpose. I can't believe it. You said we couldn't have sex, but you never said I could hug you. Hugging, Chi-Chi yelled, and she clenched her fists. You call that hugging? That's more like sexual harassment. Come on, you know you liked it. Kakarot said, and smirked. Chi-Chi scowled at Kakarot. No way. Kakarot's smirk widened. Don't lie, I saw you blush. Her blush returned. That's what every girl would do when a man's head is on a woman's chest. I don't think their face would be as red as yours. Okay, that is not true. Well, I'm the only one that can see your face right. You can't see your own face without a mirror. Chi-Chi growled at him. Forget it, I'm going to go make some breakfast. Chi-Chi made her way to the edge of the bed, but came back down from the force of Kakarot's hand pulling her. She landed on his bare chest, and saw his muscular arms surround her. They fell back on the bed, and Kakarot tightened his grip on her, making sure she doesn't try to get away from him. Come on, Kakarot whispered, and nibbled on her ear. Stay with me for a while. Relax. Chi-Chi closed her eyes, sighed, and finally gave in to Kakarot's demands. All right, fine. But you're going to regret it later, when your stomach growls wanting food. Chi-Chi softly said, then hearing light chuckles. It's worth it. Chi-Chi's eyelids opened slightly, and rose one eyebrow in wonder. Oh really? Well, Kakarot began to say, but was interrupted by a loud pounding on the front door. Kakarot released Chi-Chi from his arms, and left the bedroom with a growl. What is it now? Kakarot hissed under his breath. Kakarot approached the door, with a frown on his face. He opened the door, and was welcomed by someone's fist in his face. Bastard! That's no way to treat a commander! He shouted, and began to rub his face angrily. I could say the same to you, Kakarot. You may be a commander, but you don't treat the Prince of all Saiyans like that. Kakarot's eyes widened at the voice, Vegeta. What the hell are you doing here? I was busy doing something, and I was interrupted to the sound of your violent poundings. Are you trying to knock down my door? Well, you can continue your pointless events later, because we have some things to discuss. Vegeta said, crossing his arms over his chest. What is it now? Kakarot grumbled. You've been late for training lately. What the hell has brought you back from it? Kakarot scowled at him. A day won't kill you, and stop acting like a brat. I'm the future king of this planet. I can have what I want. Don't forget I'm stronger than you, and I can kick your ass. Shut up. Kakarot rolled his eyes. Okay, I'll train with you. But, was coming to my home really necessary? We have scouters to communicate, you know. I can do what I please. Now hurry up. I can't wait forever. Stop being a lazy ass and put some clothes on. Who wants to see someone in boxers answer the door? Vegeta growled. Kakarot stared at him annoyed. Stop being a prick. I'll see you in an hour, or else I'll be back to kick your ass. I'd like to see you try. Kakarot teased and smirked, which caused Vegeta to growl back in frustration. An hour, Vegeta said, and flew off. Who was that? Chi-Chi asked from behind. Kakarot closed the door. Vegeta. Who's Vegeta? That Prince of the Saiyans, and also my sparring partner. What? You actually spar with this jerk? I don't mind. He's probably the strongest person in the universe besides me. If he treated me like that, I'd slap him. That wouldn't be the smartest idea. Just refrain from it. I'm going to go start cooking breakfast now. Good idea. Kakarot nodded, and Chi-Chi disappeared into the kitchen. Kakarot sadly stomped to the kitchen. There goes my morning. Why did Vegeta have to ruin it? After Kakarot ate his meal, he flew off to go spar with Vegeta. Chi-Chi was now alone again, with nothing to do. She sighed, and paced around the house. What to do? What to do? I know, I could go explore outside. Since I'm going to be on this planet for the rest of my life, I might as well see what it looks like on the outside. I don't really want to stay in this place forever. I need some fresh air once in a while. I'll just take a walk, and come back before Kakarot. Besides, what could happen? Chi-Chi got dressed, and went outside to go on her walk. She took in a deep breath, inhaling the fresh air of the outdoors. She saw bunches of unusual plants, but resembled the ones back on Earth. Chi-Chi smiled. I could get used to this. Chi-Chi casually walked through the unknown forests, and had a slight smile on her face as she observed her surroundings. It's not like Earth, but it is pretty. I miss my home planet, but I'm treated a little fairly here, I guess. Kakarot has kinda shown some emotion towards me lately, but he has his mood swings. Chi-Chi inhaled the sweet scent of the planet's flowers. It reminded her of home in so many ways, but it was still different. I wonder how Kakarot's training is going. That Vegeta sure is a jerk, but I guess Kakarot is okay with it. I shouldn't be concerned. Stop, someone yelled, bringing Chi-Chi back to reality. Uh-oh, this isn't good. Chi-Chi whispered to herself. A Saiyan man in armor approached her, and had an angry look on his face. Chi-Chi felt uncomfortable when he stared at her. What do you think you're doing? Who are you? Chi-Chi gulped. I am Chi-Chi, and I'm an Earthling. His eyes widened. What? You're an Earthling? Where's your owner human? Humans are not allowed to just take a stroll around our planet. Unless you have some verification that you're allowed out here, you're going to come with me, and we'll deal with you. For your information, my owner's name is Kakarot. Kakarot, there's no way he has a slave. You're just making stuff up, woman. You're coming with me, he said, and grabbed hold of Chi-Chi's arm. Chi-Chi struggled in his grasp. Hey, what do you think you're doing? I told you the truth. Get your hands off me, bastard. Chi-Chi shouted. He slapped her. Don't you dare give me that shit. If you keep refusing, I'll do worse than just a slap. Got it, he yelled at her, furious. Chi-Chi let out a breath, and angrily nodded. The Saiyan dragged her to a slave cell, and Chi-Chi started to regret coming outside for some fresh air. Kakarot was blocking punches Vegeta was trying to land on him, and suddenly stopped, letting out a growl. Vegeta froze at Kakarot's actions, and scowled at him. What is it, Kakarot? Why are you stalling our training? What's so important that you have to stop? Vegeta growled. It's Chi-Chi. She's not at my home, and I feel her heading somewhere else. What the hell is she pulling now? Why are you so concerned about that wench for? Our training is way more important than that earthling's life. Can it, Vegeta? We'll finish this some other time. I have a woman to catch. Kakarot growled under his breath. He put 2 fingers to his forehead and focused, but immediately dropped his hand down. He decided to fly instead. When I find her, she's dead. I can't believe she would do that. I'll kick her sorry ass. Kakarot flew at top speed in the sky, heading in Chi-Chi's location. Chi-Chi was thrown into a filthy cell, and was now pacing back and forth in the tiny space. I wonder what Kakarot will think when he finds out about this. Chi-Chi's sweat dropped, and bit her lower lip. I'm dead. She saw a familiar Saiyan stride past her cell, and walked up to the bars. She recognized him by his hairstyle, that resembled Kakarot's. Turles. She groaned softly, and lowered her head. Please don't notice me, just keep walking, just keep walking. Turles looked back, and saw her. Chi-Chi freaked. Damn it. Turles walked over her cell and smirked. Chi-Chi let out a breath in frustration. Kakarot's slave, what are you doing here? Did you do something bad? Turles teased, and Chi-Chi growled. Oh come on, don't be like that. I was only teasing. Hey, I'll get you out of here if you want. Chi-Chi spit in his face. Stay away from me, asshole. I don't need any help from you. Turles shook his head, and wiped his face. You're still as feisty as the last time I saw you. But that's what I like about you. Turles' smirk widened, which caused Chi-Chi to frown. FCK off. Chi-Chi hissed at him. Someone's in a bad mood today. Did Kakarot put you in here or something? No, Chi-Chi mumbled. Well, I'll get you out of here. Turles left the cell, and Chi-Chi sighed. At least he's away for now. I hate him. I don't understand why he keeps doing this. It's annoying. Turles came back, and unlocked her cell. Chi-Chi came out, and ran for it. No way in hell would I stay with you. Chi-Chi turned around and stuck her tongue out at him. Before she got out the door, he appeared in front of her, blocking her exit. She started to punch him on the chest. Hey, let me out of here. Get out of the way, prick. You really have quite the language, don't you? I'm going to get you out of here. If you just break for it, others around will notice. You'll probably be put back in the cell. I'd rather be put in there than stay with you. Chi-Chi growled back at him. Turles grabbed hold of her arm, and dragged her out of the cell building. Chi-Chi kept kicking and punching him to let go of her, but his grip tightened on her. Would you let go of me? Chi-Chi yelled at him, and kept struggling in his grasp. She noticed the building was out of view. We're away from the cells now. You can unhand me. Turles felt something coming towards him, and panicked. Kakarot flew down to him, landing a punch hard in his face, sending him back many feet back. Chi-Chi let out a breath, and relaxed. She felt a little overjoyed when she saw Kakarot. Chi-Chi, why were you trying to escape? Kakarot growled at her, and Chi-Chi's happiness died. I was just taking a walk around your house, but some other Saiyan found me, and took me to one of those cells. Chi-Chi growled back. Didn't I tell you that you could not go outside? You're such a pain in the ass. Chi-Chi scowled at Kakarot. Well, you are too. You're so rude. Can't I ever get some fresh air? When you pull stunts like that, you get taken away by other Saiyans. I have another question. Why was Turles dragging you out here? Kakarot yelled, as his anger started to increase. Turles made his blood boil. He got me out of my cell, and took me out here. I yelled at him to release his grip on me, but he just gripped tighter. Now, my arm hurts. Chi-Chi said, and rubbed her arm. Turles stumbled back to Kakarot and Chi-Chi. Turles scoffed at Kakarot. Come on, Kakarot, stop acting like a dick. Let her have some free time. Let her go sightseeing or something. It's better than being stuck in a home 24/7. Turles said, and Kakarot rolled his eyes. Turles snickered. Well, if you won't take her out. Turles pulled Chi-Chi into a hug, which made Chi-Chi frown. Then I will. Chi-Chi elbowed Turles in the groin, and he groaned in pain. Turles released Chi-Chi from the hug. Get off me. Just leave me alone. Chi-Chi yelled at him. Yeah, Turles, just leave her be. Kakarot said. Turles glared at him. Stop being a smart ass. I was just trying to do something nice for her. Kakarot rolled his eyes. Only just to get into her pants. Kakarot mumbled angrily under his breath. Kakarot grabbed Chi-Chi's hand, and pulled her away from Turles. "We're going to go now," Kakarot said, and lifted Chi-Chi up into his arms bridal style and flew off, leaving an irritated Turles behind. "Kakarot," Chi-Chi said petrified, tightening her grip around Kakarot's neck. "What? Put me down please. You're making me nervous." Chi-Chi shakily. "We'll be back soon, don't worry. I won't drop you, so don't freak out," Kakarot replied, and Chi-Chi's grip loosened. Kakarot and Chi-Chi arrived back at his home, and walked inside. That's when Kakarot got serious. He turned around to look at her, a frown appearing on his face. "What's wrong?" Chi-Chi asked, and raised an eyebrow. "What really happened?" Kakarot darkly, staring at her in the eyes. "I already told you. I went out exploring, got put into a cell, and Turles appeared out of nowhere and ratted me out. Do I really need to repeat myself? Did Turles do anything to you?" Kakarot asked in the same tone. "He only teased with me, that's all. Why are you so protective over me being with Turles anyway? He's a Saiyan like you too. I don't trust that bastard. You're mine, not his. I don't want you to be around him at all. I have no idea what he can do to you if you just go out by yourself. That's why I want you to stay here. I don't want anything to happen to you." Chi-Chi's eyes widened. "You really mean that?" Kakarot put his hands on her shoulders, and looked in her eyes. "You belong to me, and no one else, got it?" Chi-Chi nodded her head slowly, and Kakarot put a slight smirk on his face. "Good." Kakarot released her, and took steps towards the kitchen. Kakarot looked back at her, and pointed to the kitchen doorway. "Well, are you going to make our dinner or what?" "I'm starving." Sure." Chi-Chi followed Kakarot into the kitchen, and made a big meal for Kakarot and herself. Kakarot watched her make the food. "You're my woman, and no one else's. You may not like me as much as I like you, but I won't let anyone else have you or hurt you. You will be mine, but now is not the best time." Crash. "Chi-Chi, I need your help. Get up." Kakarot screamed from the kitchen, and Chi-Chi woke up from the noises. "Huh," Chi-Chi mumbled in a sleepy voice, as she lifted herself up in the bed. "Do you need your hearing checked? Get in here. I need your assistance," Kakarot shouted, and Chi-Chi jumped out of the bed in surprise. "What the hell do you want now? I was sleeping, you know. What could be so important that you had to wake me?" Chi-Chi growled loudly back at him. Chi-Chi heard more crashes, and lowered her head irritated. "Chi-Chi, get the hell in here." "Fine, Grumpy Gus," Chi-Chi hissed, and stomped out of bed in her nightgown shirt. She trudged into the kitchen, and gasped at the sight. Kakarot had an angry frown on his face, and was soaked in water. The kitchen was a disaster. Food splattered everywhere, dishes shattered across the floors, and the counters were covered in flour and other items. Chi-Chi had a face of shock, rage, and horror. The kitchen looked awful. Kakarot, what have you done? This kitchen is a mess. What hell happened? What gave you the desire to trash this room? You are so. Shut up. I didn't want to wake you up because of what happened yesterday, and I thought you would have wanted to get some rest. But I was starving, so I decided to try to make something myself. It looked simple when you would cook, so I thought I could do it no problem. I tried it, and this is what happened. Can you just clean this up?" Kakarot interrupted. "Wait, I'm cleaning this." "No, you're going to clean up your mess. I'm not picking up after everything you do. Screw this." Chi-Chi hissed at Kakarot, and exited the room. Kakarot followed her, and grabbed her arm. Chi-Chi looked back at him, and anger showed on her face. "I'm not cleaning up after you. Let go of me. You're my slave, right? You need to do it, or its consequences you will face." Kakarot frowned at her, and tightened his grip. Chi-Chi growled at him. "You're referring back to that. So apparently I've been a slave to you this whole time. You know, I was starting to kinda like you," Chi-Chi declared, and struggled even more. "Just clean it and it'll be over." Kakarot sighed. "Fine, now will you let go of me? It's a little uncomfortable," Chi-Chi snapped. Kakarot let go of her, and Chi-Chi angrily made her way back into the messy kitchen. Chi-Chi sighed, since this was not going to fun for her. Kakarot saw her leave, and grumbled. "Wow, she is really crabby this morning, good riddance. I'm going to get in the bath, I smell funny." Kakarot sniffed himself, and departed to the bathroom. Before he walked into his bedroom he looked back to the kitchen doorway. Hey, after you're done, can you fix breakfast? Kakarot called out to Chi-Chi, and heard her growl in response. Kakarot shrugged his shoulders and continued to the bathroom. Chi-Chi cleaned up Kakarot's mess, and let out a breath in frustration. She wiped off some sweat from her forehead, and turned to the stove. She started on the meal, awaiting Kakarot's return. She then dusted herself off, to get all of the flour and parts of food off her. Kakarot really made a big mess. I've never seen anything that bad before. Chi-Chi said to herself. Moments later when Chi-Chi was about finished with preparing the food, she felt someone's arms around her waist, which made her squeal in surprise. Kakarot, Chi-Chi gasped, as she felt him nibble on her ear. Shivers went down her spine feeling his tongue on her ear. Stop. Quit it. Do you want to burn breakfast? Chi-Chi shuddered out. You taste better. Kakarot whispered into her ears, and Chi-Chi took in a shaken breath. One of Kakarot's hands went up to Chi-Chi's right breast, and squeezed it lightly, getting a moan out of her. Kakarot's mouth moved to her neck, kissing and sucking on the skin. Stop it PP please, Chi-Chi moaned, and tried to push him away. You're ruining it, just go with it, Kakarot said softly, and continued with sucking on Chi-Chi's neck. Chi-Chi's body started to give in to him, but she had to stop this. She raised a hand up by Kakarot's head and whacked him roughly on the back of his skull. Kakarot released her, and grabbed his head in pain. Chi-Chi stuck her tongue at him, and Kakarot just growled at her. I'll get you for that, Kakarot said, rubbing his head. Try me, Kakarot smirked at her. Oh, it's on. Kakarot immediately reached for her, but Chi-Chi already retreated out of the kitchen. Kakarot's tail twitched in amusement. He exited the room, and searched the living room, and found no Chi-Chi. He walked in between the doorframe and was about to go into bedroom, until he heard light footsteps behind him. His smirk widened, and followed the sound of the footsteps. He found himself in the training room, and he saw Chi-Chi in the corner of his eye, trying to hide behind the gravity machine. He headed toward Chi-Chi, and heard her shriek as she tried to run from him. He pulled her into his arms before she could get away. Think you could hide from me? Kakarot laughed, and Chi-Chi moved around in his arms. Come on Kakarot, let me go, I need to check on the food. Chi-Chi shouted. Ah, come on, can't I have a little fun with you? Either that, or your breakfast will be ruined, and I'm not making anything else. Now let go, Chi-Chi stated calmly. Kakarot let her go, and watched her hips sway as she left the room. She's controlling me, and I don't know how. He followed her back into the kitchen, and found himself a seat at the table. When the food was placed on the table, Kakarot looked at her. Chi-Chi raised an eyebrow, wondering why Kakarot was looking at her. Hey Chi-Chi, want to race? Chi-Chi blinked her eyes a bit in confusion. What, an eating contest? Let's see who can eat their food first. Ready, sure, but I know you'll win. Chi-Chi rolled her eyes at him, and Kakarot smiled. Come on, it'll be fun. Kakarot happily said, and the two held their silverware firmly. Go. Little bits of food fell off the plates from the pace Kakarot and Chi-Chi were eating. Kakarot gobbled down his food in seconds, and Chi-Chi finished moments after. Kakarot patted his stomach in satisfaction. Ah, that was great. No fair, how come you can eat so fast? Chi-Chi asked. I'm a Saiyan, remember, we have big appetites. You're a human, so you probably don't have quite the appetite like we do. Oh, Kakarot lifted himself out of his chair. I'm going to go training with Vegeta now, I can't keep the grouchy prince waiting. Kakarot mumbled, walked over to Chi-Chi, and his head lowered to look down at her. Chi-Chi, don't leave this house, understand? I don't want another incident like yesterday. You'll be here when I get back, right? Chi-Chi nodded her head. Yeah, I won't do anything reckless like that again. That was awful, Chi-Chi admitted. I promise when I come back, I'll take you around the planet with me. Okay. All right, Chi-Chi replied happily, which made Kakarot smile. All right, I'll be going now, see you later. Kakarot said, and left his home, leaving Chi-Chi alone like the other day. Chi-Chi washed the dishes, and plopped down onto the couch in the living room. She looked up at the ceiling, and sighed in boredom. What to do? About an hour later, she heard the front door open, and a smile appeared on her face. She got up from the sofa, and headed towards the front door. When she saw who was in the doorway, her smile disappeared, and she gasped in shock. When she saw who was in the doorway, her smile disappeared, and she gasped in shock. She frowned at the man before her, and she slowly backed away from the door, keeping her distance. Chi-Chi growled in fury. "Turles." Chi-Chi hissed through her teeth. Turles smirked at her. "Aw, come on. What's with the look on your face? You hate me or something?" Turles teased. "Shut the hell up. I hate you. Go away, or Kakarot will not hesitate to kick your stupid ass back home." Chi-Chi shouted at him as she clenched her fists. "What a temper. It's really attractive, you know, and I'm surprised Kakarot hasn't banged you yet." Turles smirked, and walked towards Chi-Chi. "You sick bastard." Chi-Chi growled, and kept taking steps back, still keeping a distance between them. "Stay away from me. Just wait until Kakarot comes back. He will be pissed, and will beat you to a pulp." Turles backed Chi-Chi into a wall, and took a hold of her arm. "Kakarot, Kakarot, Kakarot, that's all you've been talking about since I came in here. You really think he'll back here and beat me up?" Turles laughed, lowered his face in front of hers, putting a smug smirk on his face. "Not a chance," Turles said coldly. Chi-Chi kicked him where it hurt, and sprinted to the opposite side of the room, trying to get as far away as possible. "Why are you even here?" Chi-Chi snapped. Turles' smirk widened. "Let's just say that you won't be living here anymore." Chi-Chi stuck her tongue out at him. "Go to hell." Chi-Chi spat. Turles appeared in front of her, and flipped her over his shoulder. Chi-Chi punched on his back in fury, trying to get him to let her go. "Let me go, you bastard." Chi-Chi screamed as Turles flew out of Kakarot's home. Kakarot felt something strange close to his home, and frowned. He stopped to feel the energy that was about to terrorize his home, and growled. He didn't pay attention to his surroundings, and Vegeta's foot landed on the side of his face, and he was knocked into a tree behind him. "Geez, I wasn't paying attention to that one." Kakarot mumbled, and rubbed his swollen cheek. "Pay attention, Kakarot. I don't have time for your fooling around." "Baka," Vegeta growled, and scowled at him. "Shut the hell up, Vegeta. I noticed something weird back at my house, and now I'm concerned." Vegeta rolled his eyes. "Are you seriously going to go back there and skip out training again? I'm tired of this shit, Kakarot. We need to train, and I need to become the legendary Super Saiyan." Vegeta hissed, and crossed his arms. "I could care less about this legendary Super Saiyan thing. What I really care about at the moment is what is at my house, and Chi-Chi is there." Vegeta scoffed. "I don't give a damn about that bitchy wench." Kakarot flinched at Vegeta's words, and punched him in the face. Vegeta now laid on the ground bewildered, and annoyed. "Don't you dare call Chi-Chi that again," Kakarot said coldly, and gave him a death glare. Vegeta let out a laugh, and stood back up. "You actually care about that woman. She's just a pathetic human that causes trouble, and is a big distraction in your life." "Shut the FCK up, Vegeta, I'm not in the mood. I'm heading back to my home to check on Chi-Chi. There's something wrong, I just know it." "No way, you're not ditching our training again." "Got it," Vegeta yelled. Kakarot scowled at him. "Another day won't kill you. Stop being a bossy prick." Vegeta growled in defeat, and waved him off. "Fine, whatever, but the next time we train, you're in for a surprise. You'll regret abandoning our sparring, because I'll kick your ass the next time we fight." Kakarot rolled his eyes. "Yeah, like that will ever happen," Kakarot said, and flew off, leaving a pissed off Vegeta. When he arrived in front of his household, he saw the front door was open. He didn't feel Chi-Chi's energy inside, and his eyes widened, realizing what happened while he was gone. He hurried inside his house, and searched around the rooms, but no sign of Chi-Chi. Kakarot walked up to a wall, and clenched his fists in rage. "Shit." Kakarot punched the wall, and blood gushed out of his fist. He banged his head on the wall. "I'm so stupid. I never should have left." Kakarot looked out the open door that led out to the front yard, and growled. He dashed out the door, and flew back up into the sky, having no clue where he was heading. "Turles," Kakarot screamed. "When I find you, you're dead. Don't worry, Kai, I'll find ya. That bastard has no pride, just taking my woman out of my territory. You're dead, Turles, you are dead." Chi-Chi found herself in an unknown room, and figured she was in Turles' place. She walked up to a door, and attempted to open it. Chi-Chi furiously turned the doorknob back and forth, but the door did not open. She began to kick and punch the door, trying to get out, but failed. Damn it, Chi-Chi growled, sliding down the door in defeat. Why can't I get the freaking door open? I don't want to be here. Chi-Chi lowered her head, and sighed. Where's Kakarot? I need him right now. I don't know where I am, and I don't want to be around that bastard Turles. Can this day get any worse? The door unlocked, and Chi-Chi dashed away from the door. The door creaked as it opened, and she closed her eyes in fear. She sat down in a corner, and wrapped her arms around her legs. She buried her head into her legs, hiding her face. Please let this be a dream, please let this be a dream. This can't be real, I don't want to be here. I wish Kakarot was here, damn it. Chi-Chi heard footsteps heading toward her, and she hugged her legs more tightly. The sounds of footsteps stopped, and Chi-Chi whimpered softly. Please go away, and leave me alone. She felt a hand on her back, and shrugged it away. Don't touch me, Chi-Chi screamed, and she raised her head up to look at Turles' face. Where am I? Somewhere I hope no one will find you. Kakarot will find me, he's smarter than you think. Chi-Chi snapped. Turles smirked. Oh really? I have faith in him. I bet that he will be here soon to kick your sorry ass. Your little prediction may be wrong, because I have obtained something that may make me the strongest being in the universe. Chi-Chi rolled her eyes. Like I'd believe that, Chi-Chi mumbled. You'll see for yourself soon, because if Kakarot arrives, he will face his death. Turles said, and his smirk widened. Is he really telling the truth? I hope this is some kind of trick, because I don't want to end up with this asshole. Kakarot, I hope you get here soon, I'm waiting here for you. There's no way that's possible. You can't obtain something like that. Chi-Chi responded in disbelief, and crossed her arms over her chest. It may be hard to believe, but it's true. See this. Turles rose up a red rounded object in his hand, and his smirk widened. This thing here will give me the strength to defeat Kakarot, and any other being in the whole universe. So, when Kakarot comes here to try and save you, I'll make sure he dies painfully and slowly, and I'll enjoy every last bit. Turles laughed, and Chi-Chi frowned at him. Oh please, I bet that Kakarot can kick your ass, no matter how strong you may be. She scoffed, and glared at Turles. He put his arms around her, and Chi-Chi furiously tried to push him off her. Get off me, Chi-Chi yelled, as she pushed Turles. Turles' tail wrapped around Chi-Chi's slim waist, and pulled her closer to him. You know, you're very attractive when you're feisty like that, he whispered in her ear, and sent shivers down Chi-Chi's spine. FCK off, Chi-Chi screamed. She threw a punch at Turles, but he quickly caught her fist in his hand, and he laughed. Let go of me, she shouted, and continued her struggles. Never, he said, and leaned in closer to her face. No, don't. What do you think you're due? Turles' lips captured Chi-Chi's, interrupting her. Chi-Chi was frantic. He was kissing her. As he was kissing her, he pushed her body onto the ground, so now he was on top of her. Chi-Chi tried desperately to get out from under Turles, but he pinned her down, preventing her from getting away. His mouth started to move down to her neck, and she gasped. Quit it, I don't want this. Get off me please, Chi-Chi begged. A smirk appeared on Turles' features. Now why would I do that? He continued with his actions, and tears formed in Chi-Chi's eyes. Stop it, please, you bastard, get off me. She screamed, and squirmed underneath Turles. Hey, get off my woman, you ass. Chi-Chi's eyes widened at the familiar voice. She turned her head to see her savior, Kakarot. A smile appeared on her face, and her heart leapt for joy. Kakarot was here to save her. Turles stopped his interactions with Chi-Chi to look at Kakarot, and frowned. You were interrupting something, Turles said coldly, and growled. Kakarot returned the frown. Yeah, and you have no right to violate my home, and take Chi-Chi with you. Kakarot growled, as he clenched his fists in anger. I come here to see Chi-Chi pinned underneath someone against her will, and that's what pisses me off. Get off her right now. Kakarot snapped. His smirk reappeared. Nah, I was really starting to enjoy her. I mean, just look at her. She's got it all. A nice toned figure. His hands roamed down her sides, long silky hair, one of his hands combed through her ebony hair, a beautiful face to look at, and don't forget the thing that drives men wild. One of his hands came down to her chest, her breasts. He squeezed one of Chi-Chi's breasts, and a gasp escaped her lips. Chi-Chi closed her eyes shut. Kakarot, she screamed in fear. One of Kakarot's eyes twitched in fury, his anger now beginning to reach its peak. Get your damn hands off her! Kakarot shouted, and his eyes flickered from black to teal and back to black again. His power level was increasing dramatically as his rage did. He lunged for Turles, landing a fist in his face. Turles crashed into a wall from the impact of Kakarot's punch. Kakarot pulled Chi-Chi into his arms, and rubbed her back comfortingly. He felt Chi-Chi's arms wrap themselves around him, and heard her light sobs. He calmed down when he took in her scent. Shish, it's all right Kai, it's all right. Don't cry, it's gonna be okay. Kakarot soothed as Chi-Chi tightened her grip around him. Kakarot, I was so worried. I was waiting for you to get here and then he was messing around with me and… Shish, calm down, it's gonna be all right. Everything's going to be okay. Kakarot whispered, and continued to rub her back. I'll make sure that no one harms you anymore, got that? You're mine and no one else's. I swear I will protect you from anyone that is a threat. She buried her face into Kakarot's ripped shirt. Kakarot, I am so sorry. Chi-Chi continued her sobs, and Kakarot smiled down at her. It's not your fault. Chi-Chi's eyes widened at his words, and he looked up at his face. How did you? I don't really know, I could just hear it I guess. Kakarot, please tell me you're going to beat him. He showed me something, a fruit I think. It was red, and he told me he could kill you with it. If he eats it, he thinks he can defeat anyone. Sounds serious, I think I better keep my guard up. Don't worry Chi-Chi, I'll beat him, and we can go back home. Promise you'll beat him? She asked, and one of her eyebrows arched. Kakarot's smile widened and he tightened his grip on her, not wanting to let her go. Promise. He let go of Chi-Chi, and stood back up to walk over to Turles. Chi-Chi, get back, as far as you can. Kakarot warned calmly. Chi-Chi nodded, and scooted as far away from the two Saiyans as possible. Be careful, she called out to Kakarot, and he turned back to give her a warm smile. I will, don't worry. Kakarot grabbed hold of Turles by his armor, and pulled him up to face him. He gave him a cold stare. Now, where were we? Turles only smirked in response. When I get ready to beat you to a pulp, Turles declared, and kicked Kakarot in the stomach, sending him to the ground. Kakarot groaned in pain as he got up from the floor, and then chuckled. Nice hit, but it won't happen again. Turles' smirk widened. That's what you think. Turles swung a punch at Kakarot, but was easily dodged. Kakarot sped up to him, and kneed him in his jaw, and a loud crack was heard. Turles screamed out in pain, and took a couple steps back, holding his now broken chin. You asshole, you just broke my FC King jaw. Turles screamed. Kakarot frowned. That's what you get for putting your filthy hands on my Chi-Chi. He yelled, clenching his fists. You fool, I still have my secret weapon. Turles took out the red object, and smirked. When I take a bite out of this, you are done for. Then when I'm done with you, I'll finish what I've started with her. Turles looked over at Chi-Chi, and her body shook in fear. She wrapped her arms around her legs, and glared at Turles. Kakarot growled, oh no you won't. He dove for Turles, getting ready to land a kick to his side. Turles dodged his attempt, and immediately took a bite out of the red fruit. Turles' body bulged from the intense power that overflowed him. He laughed, feeling all of the energy inside him, and Kakarot flinched. Do you feel so confident now? My power level has increased more than you'll imagine. He laughed. Kakarot, Chi-Chi yelled in a worried tone. Don't worry Chi-Chi, I can handle him. If things go wrong I want you to flee from here, got it? Sure, but what about you? Don't worry about it. Chi-Chi slowly nodded her head. Oh alright, are you ready to die Kakarot? Turles asked, smirking. Kakarot got into a fighting stance. Not today. Turles swung a punch at Kakarot, and he dodged it barely. The two began to swing punches and kicks at each other, trying to win. Kakarot is fighting for Chi-Chi's sake, and will do anything to save her from this evil being. I will defeat Turles for you Chi-Chi, and I will never stop fighting until you're safe and sound. This I swear to you. You are the only one for me, and I'll be devastated if something were to happen to you. I will not let this bastard have you, even if it means my death. I will protect you. So, Kakarot, you're really that confident that you'll beat me? You're a fool. Kakarot attacked Turles, and slammed a punch in his face. The two Saiyans flew bunches of punches and kicks at each other, and they were beginning to lose some of their energy. Suddenly, Turles knocked Kakarot on the ground with both of his hands together. Kakarot, now face down on the ground, struggles to get up from the dented floor. He coughed out a bit of blood, and clenched his fist as he got up on his 2 feet. As soon as Kakarot got up, Turles quickly beat him into the wall, and slammed his head against his, drawing blood from his cracked skull. Turles threw Kakarot on the ground, and kneed him in the back, getting a painful cry from Kakarot's mouth. Chi-Chi put her face into her hands, and screamed in fear at the sight. Turles looked back at her, and smirked. Don't worry, as soon as this low-class Saiyan is dead, I'll get back to where we left off. Turles cackled, and focused his sights on the conscious Kakarot. Now, shall I end this? Chi-Chi, get out of here while you still have the chance. But Kakarot, you're hurt, I can't just abandon you. Leave, now. Turles frowned as he saw Chi-Chi rise up and make a run for it. Oh no you don't, Turles yelled, and threw a key ball over in front of her, to block her way out. She shrieked at the suddenation, and fell back down on the floor. Damn, Kakarot mumbled softly. No one makes a fool out of me, Turles said, and kicked Kakarot into a wall. Turles grabbed a hold of Kakarot's feet, lifted him up, and slammed him hard down on the ground below, knocking him out. Turles chuckled. I guess he was not match for my new power. What a loser. Chi-Chi flinched in terror, and scooted as far away as she could. You monster, Chi-Chi shrieked. Turles appeared in front of her, with a smirk on his face. She gasped, and tried pushing him away with her hands. Get away from me, you bastard. Turles chuckled. No way. He grabbed her hands, and pinned them above her head. No, let go of me, Chi-Chi screamed as she struggled in his grasp. Kakarot, you have to get up. Please, I need you, she shouted as loud as she could. Kakarot made slight movements, hearing every word said. Kakarot slowly shook in anger, struggling to get up. No, you get off her, Kakarot yelled, as his hair flickered from black to gold and back to a black color. So, you're still conscious, Stubborn fool, you hardly have the power to stand. Do you still believe you can beat me? You worthless low-class Saiyan. Turles laughed. Kakarot clenched his fists, and his hair continued to slowly change color. I won't let you go through with this, I won't. You can't defeat me. I am stronger than you, and always will be. Turles used his free hand to squeeze one of Chi-Chi's breasts, and she let out a gasp. Kakarot, Chi-Chi screamed. Quit it. Chi-Chi squirmed underneath Turles. Kakarot let out a scream, and a golden aura surrounded him. He got up on his 2 feet, and looked over at Turles. He sped over to him, and held him up by the neck. This stops now. Don't you ever touch her ever again. I'm going to make sure you never live to cause any trouble to me or Chi-Chi again. Kakarot shouted in Turles's face through clenched teeth. Turles began to choke and try to breathe in some air, but Kakarot tightened his grip on him. Please let me go. I'll do whatever you want, just don't kill me. Turles gasped, trying to breathe. Kakarot smirked. You think I'm just going to forgive you and let you live? Not on your life. Kakarot let out a battle cry, and slammed his free fist into his face, and cracked his head. Then took his hand, and drove it through his chest, now limiting Turles's life. Kakarot released him from his grasp, and he hit the ground, breathing hard. How can this be? Turles killed. Turles panted. You know, the bad always lose in a fight. You shouldn't have pissed me off, maybe that would have made a difference. Kakarot said, and spit at him. People like you make me sick. I hope you go to hell someday. Kakarot threw an energy blast at Turles, and blew his body to bits. Serves you right, Kakarot said coldly. Kakarot, Chi-Chi said in joy, and ran over to him. Kakarot smiled at Chi-Chi, and put his arms securely around her. Hey, I won, Kakarot laughed. I'm so happy, I thought you were a goner. Chi-Chi cried into his chest, then looked up at him confused. Wait, how is your hair this color? She put one of her hands through his hair, and raised an eyebrow. This is strange. How did you do that? Kakarot put a hand behind his head. I have no clue, but I think I got so mad, and it happened. I did feel this overwhelming power inside me though, it's amazing. Kakarot said, interesting. Kakarot, can we go back home? I'm pretty worn out, and I don't want to stay here any longer. Huh, oh sure, let's head back then. Oh, and can you cook something? I'm really hungry. Really Kakarot, is that really what you're thinking at a time like this? You just fought someone, you're probably tired. Let's just go to sleep, we need some rest. Please, just a little snack. Little, you eat a lot. Fine, I'll make something when we head back. Yay, you're the best Chi-Chi. Kakarot cheered. Okay, let's go back home then. Kakarot and Chi-Chi headed back home, and Chi-Chi prepared a big meal for them after what had occurred not too long ago. After that, they decided to get some rest since the two of them were exhausted from all the events that happened this day. They fell asleep in each other's arms in pure bliss, knowing that they were in peace. The end. Thanks for watching.